Hey, this is Steve, and I am from True Health, and today I want to talk about actually cloning plants. I think it's so useful because you can do it with so many different things. You can do it with flowers, you can do it with colorful plants like Coleus, and today we are going to do some multiplication of Coleus, and we're going to take plants and we're going to divide them into several different pieces. And then we're going to use cloning powder and that type of thing to actually activate the roots on it. So it's pretty exciting. You can take a plant that might cost you like say $5 and multiply it into like 4, 5, 10 pieces, which is really cool. So it really saves you a lot of money. So one of the things I'd like to do is get started, and we will actually start putting the dirt in the container that we're going to use, and then we're going to start cutting the plants, trimming the leaves off of the top, that type of thing, and also putting them in the soil and getting them started. So most of the time this works flawlessly and it works really well. So we'll see what happens today, and I'll have a follow-up video on what happens when they are actually all complete, so when they're ready to actually set out into the garden. So it's only a few days into May, and I'm excited about doing this video. By the time late May comes along, we'll have some great flowers to put out in our containers. So join me on creating some clones today. So we're just going to go over the table and start that process. Yeah, right, so we're going to put some of this dirt in here and fill all these cells up and wipe off the top later. So what we're going to do is actually wet this substrate down so that we can actually get it ready for putting in all of the cuttings that we're going to take. So we're going to do some petunia cuttings, and we are also going to do some Coleus cuttings. So what we're going to do is actually make sure that there's some rooting powder in there, and then we're going to submerge them in here after we cut back some of the cuttings. So we're going to take off some of the larger leaves. We're going to try to make the cuttings about that long and go from there. And usually this stuff works pretty well. So we're going to give it a shot. I'm just going to continue watering these, and I will be right back with you. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to take and make cuttings off of all of these. So 3 different types of Coleus. This is a trailer, so it kind of spills down over the side, and it's got a lot of little tiny leaves on it, and these are nice and dark with a cool green edge around it, and this is lime green. So I thought those are pretty cool to actually put in a pot. And I go to this awesome nursery down the street that is really cool with like color combinations and stuff, so they suggested this. So anyway, I'm going to start making my cuttings. And also what we're going to do is we're going to use a rooting powder called Take Root, and it's made by Schultz. So it's always good to put it in a separate container so that you don't contaminate the rooting powder, and it's good for future use. So I'm going to dip it in the powder that I put here and then discard this afterwards if there's any left over. Alright, so we're going to make some cuttings here. We're going to cut these off. And the cool thing about this is when you're cutting off pieces of Coleus, the good thing is the plant itself, even though it looks horrible after you're done with this, you can actually take and let it just sit in the same container, and it's actually going to grow quite a bit back. So you'll see that it's actually going to like branch out a little bit more, and you're actually not doing that much harm to the Coleus plant itself. So we can get quite a few of these cuttings off of here. Alright, so that's good for that plant. Then we're going to trim off all of the leaves, except for the top two, and that'll actually help it survive a little bit better while it's trying to form roots on the bottom. Coleus can actually root in water really pretty easily too, but sometimes that can take a little bit longer. The fact that we're actually using root hormone actually does help quite a bit. So this right here is kind of like one of the nodes right here where some grouping of leaves are, and a lot of times that is what's going, oops, sorry. So that right there, this little bump right here, is one of the nodes where the leaves came from, and that is actually where a lot of times roots are going to come out. But with Coleus, a lot of times they'll come out at the bottom as well. Alright, so I'm going to be fast forwarding this to get into the actually planting of the Coleus. So we're going to take a break and we're going to zoom ahead so you don't have to watch this entire thing. Alright? And one of the things we're going to do is we're actually going to hone it down to about 2 leaves on the top, because it's got to have a way to photosynthesize and add some strength to produce the roots. But you don't want the leaves to be too big on the top. And on one hand, it looks like you're kind of murdering the plant by taking all these leaves off. However, you're doing it a big favor for attempting to go ahead and produce roots. So yeah, it kind of kills you to take off these beautiful leaves. It may not be so fun, but it's all in the sacrifice, and actually helps it do what it's supposed to, right? Alright, so this actually had some of the bigger leaves, so cut it down to size here, and basically what I'm going to do is take like half of the big leaves off, leave some of these new leaves right here that are actually coming out in the center, and that should be enough to make this work for it. Alright, so what I'm going to do is actually in this tray, I'm going to poke holes in each one of these so you can easily get down each one of these stems, and it won't take off as much rooting powder as it slides in. Here's a piece of Chinese silvergrass I'm using as a little hole maker here. And I've done this in a cloner before, and it actually works really well, but it takes a little time to get it started. So we're going to try it this way, and I would bet it's going to work pretty well. So in a few weeks I will show you what the end result is. Alright, so we're going to cut off some of these main leaves of the bigger variety, 2 bigger varieties, and we're just going to clip it about right here, and then you get the little leaves with the half leaves right there. Okay, just dipping that in. dipping that in the root powder, and I've got maybe about a ½ inch on there of rooting powder. Just gonna stick that in, kind of force it down towards the bottom. And just gonna go ahead and clip the rest of these leaves off the big one. Alright, so yeah, here we have the planted Coleus, and we also put some petunias in, because I can't mention probably the name of this petunia here, but it is pretty cool. It has all these like spots on it, so just took a few cuttings off of that. So yeah, it'll actually be interesting to see what happens with these. I'm also going to just stick in a few of my black goji berry plants in here too. They're kind of tender right now, but they might take towards the rooting powder really quickly. So we're going to give that a try. But thanks so much for watching this video, and I will be doing a lot of other videos in the future as well. And one of the things about true health is enjoying your landscape, enjoying the plants that you actually have that provide beauty in the landscape, because that's going to make you feel good, and you're going to love the way your yard looks. So why not do some multiplication of the plants that you have? And I was really inspired by another YouTube video, one of the guys that does so much propagation, and he's a real inspiration. And I'll put that link at the bottom when I do the video and upload it. So anyway, thanks for joining me, and you'll also see part 2 of this video showing what they look like a few weeks later. So I'll be really excited to show you that. And have an awesome day. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe, and I hope you have an awesome day.